This week on Siskel and Ebert, the Cleaver household moves into the 90s and Leave It to Beaver.
Reporter Charlie Sheen and hustler Chris Tucker go on the lam in Money Talks.
And scientist Mira Sorvino is threatened by mutated insects in Mimic.
Now, Dottie the dinosaur had never seen a human being before. Such a tiny creature who only walks on 2 legs and eats berries.
Dad?
Couldn't be much of a hunter, said Dottie.
Dad?
The Beaver thinks he's too old for bedtime stories, and Leave It to Beaver, one of 5 new movies we'll be reviewing this week on Siskel and Ebert. I'm Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune.
And I'm Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times. The new film version of Leave It to Beaver makes a crucial decision, and I think it's the right one, to play it straight and not try to make a parody of the classic TV series in the style of the Brady Bunch. It stars Cameron Finley as Beaver Cleaver, the 3rd grader whose every plan seems doomed to land him in trouble.
I got it.
You know what bothers me? When something like this happens, why do they feel they have to cover it up?
Well, maybe they're afraid you'd fly off the handle without giving them a chance to explain.
The writing has some real bright spots, and this classroom scene is one of them.
Yeah, but everyone calls me Beaver on account of it's my nickname. But you can call me whatever you want, because I don't want to get you mad and have you give me a bad grade.
Well, if it's okay with you, I'll just call you Theodore.
This summer I got an awesome bike. My brother snuck me into an R-rated movie, and I'm playing football, so I gotta wear a cup.
Longtime fans of the series who remember how June Cleaver always looked overdressed for housework may appreciate this scene.
You're vacuuming in pearls. You know what that does to me.
Stick around. Later, I'll slip into a pair of oven mitts.
That's Janine Turner as June Cleaver and Christopher McDonald as her husband, Ward. I was never a student of Leave It to Beaver, and so I came to this movie sort of fresh. I was surprised by how sweet and good-hearted it was and by how likable Cameron Finley is in the tricky title role. The story is not exactly sparkling, and I'm not sure necessarily that it works to have a mean bicycle thief as part of the plot, since he kind of undermines the innocence of everything else, but there were a lot of scenes I really liked. I'm kind of in the middle on this one, but for its innocence and charm, I'm voting thumbs up.
And I'm not even close to being in the middle.
Really?
I didn't care for it at all. I didn't like any of the characters.
You didn't?
Not any of the actors, excuse me, none of the actors.
Really?
Let me tell you, I thought that Janine Turner, who can look so cute, she had so much lipstick. I realize it's 50s.
Making a point.
Yeah, but I mean, it's so much that she didn't even look
she's
pleasing.
got the pearls and everything.
The pearls were fine, Roger, but how can you go to a store, you buy them? I'm talking about her makeup. I'm talking about the dad, Ward Cleaver. This character, he looks unhappy. He's a little sinister in some way.
No, he didn't.
Oh, he did to me.
Where
His
did
face, I'm talking about the actor.
He
The
looks like
casting
a
is wrong.
completely normal, nice dad.
He does not look like a nice dad.
Yes, he does.
Not to
There's
me.
no problem at all with him.
And I didn't even like, here's my most controversial remark in many a week. I didn't even like the casting of the little boy.
You didn't like the
original
Beaver?
No, the original actor.
Now, are you
who played
reviewing
him.
this movie in contrast to TV or on its own?
Roger, I believe it or not, like you, I haven't seen the show in 30 years.
Good,
It wasn't
okay.
one of my screening lists lately.
So you're pure in not liking the
I'm
kid.
pure in not liking
Okay,
it.
well.
But again, I didn't think the film had a point of view. I thought it was all over the map. I didn't think it had, I didn't know what it was trying to do. I thought all the scenes were all
Well, it was just
confused.
about the Beaver trying
And
to...
it was so unhappy
It's
in
kind
so
of like
many
the same
scenes.
plot as G.I. Jane, in which the Beaver tries to grow up and be self-reliant.
No, Roger, it wasn't written as cleanly. It was all over the map, too many characters, a mess. I don't recommend it at all. Next movie, our next film is a violent comedy called Money Talks, with 1 entertaining character and 1 crushing bore. Charlie Sheen is the boring one, supposedly playing an L.A. local TV newsman who comes to the rescue of a ticket-scalping hustler who works in a car wash but has been wrongly accused of killing cops. He's played engagingly by Chris Tucker.
Shave the beard, lose the earring, and please do something about that hair of yours.
What you talking about? My dude is tight.
Well, every cop in the city is looking for that tight dude.
Whatever, man. Look, I'll hook up the hair, but I ain't touching the earring because I'm still a player.
That's
The funniest bit in the movie is a continuing gag that gets rolling when Sheen introduces Tucker to his fiancée, Heather Locklear, who, in my opinion, doesn't act very well in this film.
You fat. 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 P-H-A-T. Pretty hot and tempting. I'm stunned by your fatness. James, you're a lucky man to have such a fat-ass fiancée, man. She fine.
The joke blooms when he's introduced to Sheen's future father-in-law, Paul Sorvino, as being the son of Vic Damone and Diane Carroll.
Oh, well, you know, I had a lot of friends. Junior Walker Jr., Sammy Davis Jr. Call me all the time. We hang out all the time.
And what do you do now, Mr. Damone Jr.?
I'm in
Sales.
retail. Seats.
On the stock exchange.
Broker?
Ticket scalper. But I can get you anything you want if you let me know ahead of time.
This is a funny guy.
That routine is very funny, but like so many promising action comedies, the last act of this movie degenerates into, you guessed it, non-stop car crashes and shootouts, and boy, we have both complained about that so many times in recent years. That gets old very fast, destroying whatever energy Chris Tucker can muster when Charlie Sheen's illogical character isn't dominating the story. He doesn't in any way, shape, or form look like a TV newsman, and they could have written him that way. Thumbs down for me, reluctantly, on Money Talks.
Well, thumbs up for me, but for the same reasons in a way, which is to say, Chris Tucker. He's great in this movie.
Fun.
He has the energy of a young Eddie Murphy. He's very funny. I love the way he talks, the way he does riffs, the way he thinks of things, almost in mid-sentence.
He's good.
And he's really very amusing. But Charlie Sheen, somebody who made this movie must have at one point or another seen television news and known, for example, that they don't start out by saying, this is Joe Blow standing at the scene of, and then go into, now I'm going to interview this guy. That's not how it's done.
And making a judgment on the story that he's just reporting.
Yes,
editorializing.
Even the little nitty-gritty of how a TV newsman works is all wrong, and he is a real stick in this movie, Charlie Sheen. Yet he's surrounded by some interesting characters. His boss at the TV station, I like that guy. I love Paul Sorvino, who is so proud of this guy because he's half Italian, you know. And I also loved Chris Tucker.
Yeah, but it's half a movie because Charlie Sheen is in the cast.
I'm going to give thumbs up to my half.
Okay, and I'm giving thumbs down to mine. Coming up later, a teen high school hacker becomes a hero when Patrick Stewart takes students hostage in Masterminds.
I better get extra credit for this.
But next, Oscar winner Mira Sorvino designs a super insect, and she and the rest of New York City wishes she hadn't in the new horror film Mimic.
Evolution has a way of keeping things alive.
But they all died in the lab.
Yes, Susan, but you let them out into the world. The world's a much bigger lab.
Those two experts on insects have an 11th hour debate on whether they did the right thing in Mimic, a creepy new thriller starring Mira Sorvino. She plays a geneticist who custom engineers a new bug, a cross between a mantis and a termite, to attack the cockroaches that were spreading a plague that killed children. But now 3 years have passed, and she and her husband, the disease control officer played by Jeremy Northam, face the possibility that the new bug has mutated into an even more terrifying threat. As they go searching the subway system for evidence, we get scenes like this one, not recommended for viewers who are phobic about bugs. What's going on down there underneath the city? It appears that superbugs have mimicked their more dangerous enemy, and that would be man.
Do you have the time? Sir, the time?
Charles S. Dutton plays a subway cop. Giancarlo Giannini is a shoeshine man, and they're trapped, along with Sorvino and Northam, in tunnels far beneath Manhattan.
What the heck was that? Come on, here. Here! Just wait a minute! Brandon, you wait a minute! I want to make sure!
It's not dead!
Yeah, well, it's going to be fine soon, lady!
The movie was directed by Guillermo del Toro, the young Mexican who made the stylish horror film Cronos a few years ago, which won the Critics' Week at Cannes. He's made a frightening film that's also visually effective, especially in the scene set in an abandoned subway station. Down in Urbana at the University of Illinois, they have an annual Insect Fear Film Festival. I think they're going to love this movie.
I loved it too, and it did scare me.
It did,
and
me too.
You know how hard that is for a picture to do to us?
Oh,
we know all the tricks. We know where which side of the screen the fright is going to come from. We know all the editing rhythms. It creates genuine tension.
I'm glad to hear you say that, because when he sticks his hand down there, I'm in the theater, I'm like, I don't want him to stick his hand down there. And the bugs themselves are really scary.
The other thing is long shots of danger. That's one that you've seen before. You know, sticking your hand. No, but I'm saying he's created. There's such tension, and it's done. Probably, if I had to see it again, maybe I will. Music. Lighting, that's impressive to me.
And the set, that underground abandoned subway station, is a wonderful set. This movie shows how a director can take a genre and reinvent it with a lot of personal style.
And this is really big-time filmmaking. I assume that Hollywood will, pardon the pun, swarm over this guy to get him to do more pictures, because he has got a real original sense of style. And
he's I think he's only 32 years old.
To find Mira Sorvino in this, you wonder, is she cashing a paycheck after an Oscar? Well, she must have been drawn to a good story. She certainly got hooked up with a good director.
She got the right movie, you're right.
She did. Coming up next, Patrick Stewart, again as a villain. He was one in Conspiracy Theory, and now he's another one in Masterminds.
Oh, if we had had you last year, we would not have had the science room burnout.
So this is the young man who caused that mayhem. You little bugger. Lucky for you, you didn't have me to deal with.
That's a scene from our next movie, a forgettable comic action picture called Masterminds, and to prove it's forgettable, I'll tell a tale out of school. Roger and I have a meeting each week with our production team to decide what order we're going to review the movies on this show. Well, someone names the movies, and then we discuss where to place it in the order of the 5 movies on the program. But in the case of Masterminds, neither one of us could remember what it was about. We had just seen it a few days before. We had to be reminded. Patrick Stewart, who can be a very commanding presence in the movies, plays a security consultant at a ritzy prep school who confronts the principal, Brenda Fricker, the Oscar winner from My Left Foot. What's she doing in this movie?
10 of the richest kids in America. Exactly. What would you say, 5 million each? Or 10? Decisions.
Meanwhile, a former student who was kicked out the year before and is awfully good with a computer, and whose stepsister was taken hostage, starts to fight back to free the kids.
Time to open up some gates.
So we have a bit of a problem here.
One of the problems with the movie Masterminds is that the kid, the hero, is a complete bore. And the only way to sustain interest is to root for Patrick Stewart to win, even with his lame dune buggy race here.
Give me your hand! No! Pull us up! Come on, reach!
Ozzy, slip me!
Hurry up! Pull us up!
Masterminds is all over the map. No sense of consistent tone or style. That's why it's so forgettable. Thumbs way down for me on this one, and try to remember the name Masterminds, because I couldn't. You don't want to stumble into that picture
this is one of those movies. This is one of those movies. While when you're sitting there, you're saying there is nothing to think about.
Right.
There is nothing on the screen that interests me. In a way, it's as if, you know how protons can kind of go through lead and not hit anything? This movie went through my mind and didn't hit anything.
I'll pass the obvious joke.
Yeah, I'm sure you will, because it went through your mind too.
Okay.
This movie is vacuous. This is
nothing.
Air. This is vacuum. This is nothing. This is a complete waste of time.
And this is the time when we know we have one of the great jobs of all time, but this is when it's rough, because you're being robbed of your life.
2 hours, gone forever. Gone forever. When we come back, a visually splendid fable from the Middle East named Gabbeh. Our next film is named Gabbeh, and that is also the name of a rug in Iran where the fable is set. Brilliantly colorful, the film is also quietly nonconformist, telling the story of a woman whose life, liberty, and happiness are essentially held hostage by the men in her family. As Gabbeh opens, an old man and an old woman are arguing over which will wash the rug when suddenly an amazing event takes place.
Gabbeh خوشگلم خانم خانما چقدر خوشگل هستی چرا رنگت آبیه؟ اون از سوار کیه داره اون دختره رو میبره؟ اقلا بگو تو رو کی بافته؟
ماشاءالله مثل ماه شب 14.
That's the woman pictured on the rug, and she tells them her story. In particular, she remembers the man she loved who followed her nomadic family from one desert camp to another. She's told she cannot marry until her old uncle marries first, but at last it appears that may be about to happen. But even then, she's not free to follow her dreams. Gabbeh was directed by an Iranian filmmaker named Mohsen Makhmovov, who has made more than a dozen other films, although this one is the first to play commercially in the United States. It uses magic realism and brilliant colors to tell a simple fable, although the implications of that fable may not be so simple in a country where women are discouraged from wearing any of those bright colors. The story is quietly eloquent, and the visuals in the film are lush and vibrant. I enjoyed it.
It's truly beautiful. I'm a sucker for pictures where they show an image, whether it's in a rug or on a wall or a picture, and then later in the picture, it's a great device. You come back, and now you understand why it was placed there and what it means, something that your eye would pass over. It seems to work so often. It's beautifully told here, and in a country where there's so much violence associated, we associate so much violence with it. Here's a story that has a very major human connection to it.
Very ancient and very peaceful. And you know, I love the basic colors. You remember that Chinese film about the people who were dyeing the fabrics and hanging them up, and we got judo. We got the reds and the greens and
the fabric, the actual
and it's
colors.
The same in this film, where you can almost feel the texture of that. It's a bold and colorful visual approach. It's really nice.
Terrific. Coming up next, our video pick of the week, one of this year's funniest films, and the odds are you missed it in theaters.
I have found here in Blaine a gold mine of talent.
The Century Plaza, offering the finest in luxury, service, and Southern California style, adjacent to Beverly Hills on LA's fashionable West Side. The Century Plaza Hotel and Tower, a Westin hotel.
Now it's time for our video pick of the week, and my choice is one of the silliest and funniest pictures I've seen in quite a while. Waiting for Guffman, from writer, director, actor Christopher Guest, who is partly responsible for the classic fake rock and roll documentary, This Is Spinal Tap. Once again, Guest employs the device of a mock documentary, this time focusing on the citizens of the little town of Blaine, Missouri, as they try to get together to put on a musical play about the founding of their village some 150 years ago.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached our destination. We have reached the Pacific. Welcome to California!
Grab your fella by the hand. Welcome him to the promised land.
Yes, they thought they had reached the ocean, but they were only in Missouri. As for the town's leading industry, would you believe footstools? A scene from the pageant shows how the president's visit to Blaine triggered the business many years ago.
I'll take this back to Washington with me, and every time I rest my feet, I'll think of Blaine.
But the auditions for the casting of the play are even funnier than the play itself. Here's the town's dentist, as played by the very funny Eugene Levy.
Floating like a vapor on the soft summer
Very nice.
That was
very good.
Waiting for Guffman, just out on home video, my video pick of the week. A strong recommendation. Now let's recap the movies we reviewed on this show. We split big time on the big screen version of Leave It to Beaver. I thought it was a miserable adaptation with no charm at all and a lot of bad casting. Roger, however, thought that playing it straight was the way to go with this material. He votes thumbs up. Another split vote on the comedy, Money Talks. We both enjoy the freewheeling Chris Tucker character, but the stupidly written Charlie Sheen newsman character and the last chunk of endless violence and car crashes really ruined it for me. 2 thumbs up, way up for Mimic, a spectacularly good and exciting creature feature, giant bugs in New York City's subway. 2 thumbs down for Masterminds, a vacuous, empty-headed picture about school children up for ransom. And finally, 2 thumbs up for the beautiful Iranian family drama, Gabbeh.
Remember, you can check our votes and hear our reviews of recent movies at our website. The address is www.siskel-ebert.com. That's it for this week. Next week, we'll be back with the reviews of more new movies, including She's So Lovely, starring Sean Penn, John Travolta, and Robin Wright, in the story of a woman whose first husband is too wild and second is too tame. Also, Excess Baggage, starring Alicia Silverstone, as a girl whose troubles only start when she arranges her own kidnapping. That's next week, and until then, the balcony is closed.